Good morning. Good morning, people. Today is Tuesday, June 11th, 2024. It's about 6 a.m. We're in southwestern Nevada, in Pahrump-Kentucky, Nye County. This is election day. This is election day. Good morning, Wadabebi. And today I'll be going to Lost Wages with Atticus von Atticus, leaving in a couple hours for that. So that's good. Another big day, exciting day down there. But here we are, and our goal here at Department of Career Services is to help you on your journey through life. How do we do that? Well, we do it two primary ways. One is the worksheet that's attached. It's number one. That has the experts. That's the beef. And you say, where's the beef? That's the beef. The pragmatic stuff is the podcast itself, showing up every day. And what we got to do is we've got to make it a habit every day to show up for the podcast. Don't even think about it. Just do it. Make it part of your routine. And then from this, go to do the next routine, the next routine, the next routine. Get to do it. So it's non-conscious behavior where you can participate and focus with the goal of moving forward every day. Good. Good morning, Uber Sergeant. I am a field marshal. Bonk. And are you working today, Wadabebi? Are you excited to get back to work? Well, I think that takes place in California. It's an exaggeration. The elements of it are true, but it's dramatized. No good guy is going to turn out like him. Yes, going back to work. Okay, great. All right. Well, anyway, here we are, and our goal is to focus on helping you move forward in life. Had some great meetings yesterday. Strategy, which we'll talk about later in this podcast. But for now, let's look at the worksheet. Worksheet, the meme of today. What is pure leadership? What would you say about that, Wadabebi? When I say, what is pure leadership, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Yes. No, pure leadership. For our purposes, this is that spectrum we started on yesterday. This is the week. Don't crash the ship. Don't go off course. Don't have a mutiny. Don't do any of those things. Leading from a place of intention. Okay, pure leadership for our purposes here is, the example is Marcus Aurelius. So yesterday, the two examples of crisis leadership were Lincoln and Shackleton. On the other side of the spectrum, pure leadership, Marcus Aurelius. The emperor king who could have anything he wanted and didn't let it get him to go to excess. I'm sure Atticus von Atticus will come up with some Roman emperors who didn't let their position get to their head and lead to excess. But Marcus Aurelius didn't. So yesterday, crisis leadership, there's storms all about us. How do we keep moving forward through the most difficult storms where everybody is panicking, saying, we're gonna die, we're gonna die. So here's the other side where everything is just going great. And the leader isn't really even doing anything to lead, but the people feel the leader is somehow involved in the moving forward. So that's the two things. And what was it that enabled Marcus Aurelius to be who he was? A. B. How do we know that? Let's answer B first. We know that because Marcus Aurelius kept a journal. He had many journals, but one of the journals was to myself, or his personal meditations, things he would think about. Why? Because he had no equals. And so everybody that wanted to talk to him ultimately wanted something from him, even if it was just his favor. Or so we had a journal to myself with instructions, burn it when I'm dead. And his people, somebody found it, maybe his secretaries, whatever, and read it and said, oh no, we can't destroy this. We got to let it go. So we have the journals of somebody who didn't intend that anybody would read them, intended they'd be destroyed after he left. So there was no self-serving purpose in them. And it probably, it was intended to show his true character, what he was really thinking about. So we have the journal of arguably the most powerful, important, well, I wouldn't say important, but powerful person in the world, the person with the most means in the world. And that was Stoicism. So the answer to question A is, what enabled him to do it? Stoicism. B, how do we know? Because we found his journals, and his journals are that of a Stoic. His writings are that of a Stoic, and he's known as a Stoic philosopher. He was known as a Stoic student when he was younger. And so he kind of took Stoicism to another level, not the next level, another level. He was just on the string of people who were Stoic philosophers. And so the first premise of Stoicism is there are things I can control and things I cannot control. I don't let the things I cannot control bother me, affect me, because I can't control them. So I just move forward on the things I can control. I can't control the weather, so I don't let it bother me. I can't control other people, so I don't let it bother me. What can I control? I can control myself, and I can control how I choose to respond to the world around me. And so, let's see, we had a video yesterday of Stoicism and Buddhism from the Daily Stoic, boiling it down to, they basically have the same premises and principles. And if we did that with Christianity as lived by Jesus, bonk, there's very strong, very, very, very strong parallels. It's all the same. And my hunch would be, if we got down to the essence of Hinduism, same ultimate truths. Life is suffering. Work to overcome it. Okay. Now, in Stoicism, it breaks down another thing it breaks down to. So the first premise is there are things I can control, things I can't control. I don't let the things I can't control bother me because I can't control them. Okay, good. Matt, 7 months. 7 months. I think it's a good day to celebrate. You should let Dave Schmeck know. Dave Schmeckel know about that. So there's things I can't control, things I can. The next level is, how do you know what to do? How do you know what the right thing is? And you know what to do. And so Stoicism comes down to, it's very simple. Do the right thing at the right time, in the right way, right reason. Okay, so some of our mystery guests might answer that question. They participate in doing the right thing in the right way for the right reason. No. And it's not the right thing if you don't do it in the right way for the right reason. Can't say, I did this the right thing in the wrong way for the wrong reason. It doesn't work. You've got to do right thing, right way, the right reason, at the right time. At the right time. Those 4 elements are involved. Okay, so what else we got? We're 10 minutes in. What else we got on our worksheet? Advice from an 80-year-old. Avoid sarcastic remarks. True. Got something good on the Shroud of Jesus, the Shroud of Turin. The carbon dating has dated it back to the 1600s. Looks like it's the 1600s. The problem with that nobody really hinges on is that the chain of custody goes back to the 14th century, the 1300s. So you have a cloth, a linen cloth, that is a couple hundred years older than the carbon dating. So what could be wrong with that? Either the cloth that's not the cloth from the 13th century, 14th century, the 1300s, or the carbon dating has some mistakes. And it appears very clear that the carbon dating has mistakes. What? Well, one thing is there's a cotton fiber in there, and there would not be a cotton fiber in a linen cloth. So, interesting. Well, let's move on. What else we got for today? Seth Godin. What spoiled Rex? What spoiled Rex? There's nothing wrong with abundance and joy. True. But being spoiled causes 2 real problems. Number 1, it makes it difficult to appreciate what you have. If perfect is the standard, it's rarely met and never exceeded. Correct. So my first car was a Porsche. So this applies to number 1. You could say I was spoiled because my first car was a Porsche, a car that few people ever own. That was the first car I had as a 15-and-a-half-year-old when I got my driver's permit. So it makes it difficult to appreciate what you have. Yeah. And I don't really care about cars as a result. If perfect is the standard, it's rarely met and never exceeded, right? How can you exceed perfection? It leads to tantrums about sharing, about the lack of more, and about the endless poverty of comparison. As a community increases in wealth, the number of spoiled citizens increases as well. It's true. Now, what do we say about as a community decreases in wealth? Well, it doesn't increase the number of spoiled people, but it increases the number of spoiled people who don't want to share, right? Because now there's fewer resources. If you're spoiled and there's an abundance, here's a bone. If you're spoiled and there's not an abundance, I don't share anything. It's often the acid that corrodes the magic that created the wealth in the first place. Okay, I don't know what that means. Whining is a symptom. It's rarely a cure for anything, and that could go back to Stoicism, right? Don't complain about the things you don't control. Something's bad, don't complain about it. You get sick, do what you need to do to get well, but don't complain. Okay, what else we got? 6:14. Let's see, anything out there in the hinterlands? Anything you want to say, Wadabetti? What time do you go to work today? And Atticus, Von Atticus, is your car fueled? for today's trip. Hello, is anybody out there over? What about the 2, so that's 11 o'clock. And I guess the drive back from Cleveland was good. Cleveland to Virginia, not less Virginia. Yes, LOL. How are your shoes, or did you return them? It was gorgeous. Gorgeous. Wow, that's a word. Gorgeous. I still have them. Contemplating. LOLLLLL. All righty then. Got a couple text messages from Lucy today. Interesting stuff. Talked about thinking about going back to school, getting her degree. Alternative voice. I have enough to make it to Vegas. Do you have enough to make it to Vegas and back? I would say you should fill it up before we leave. And considering we filled it up Friday at the end of the day when we got back, and now you have an empty tank, you have done a lot of driving since then. And I thought your instructions were, not for me, but your instructions were to not drive. Interesting. Okay, whatever you decide. But we can get gas in it before we go. Because it's 50 cents more per gallon down there. It's not worth filling up down there. So if you don't have enough to get there, get back. If you can't go 200 miles, then, and you don't have time to fill it up before we leave, then I will put gas in it before we leave. Okay. Anyway, there we are. And we're going to say, hasta la vista, baby. Have a good day. Pray for those who persecute you. And bless and protect those in jail and prison and those who watch over them. Hasta luego. Oh, so your ego's in there. Hasta luego. Goodbye, lose ego. And okay, bang.